Hello Ramen Nation, Chris Cobain here, bringing you the first video of week 12 of season 2 of the National Pokemon Association, aka the NPA. It is week 12 now. We have 2 more games left, week 12 and week 13. The Blazikens currently sit at a record of, I believe, 9-1. We are absolutely 100% guaranteed a playoff spot. We currently sit at number 2 in the red division, and number 3 in the entire league. Vump is number 1, and actually Dan is number 2. Ironically, they both have 1 loss, and ironically, they're both against me. So even the kill differential is favored in the NPA as opposed to 1v1 victories as you would normally think about. But it's not. So I'm okay with where we're sitting right now at 100% because the 2 people ahead of me in the league are, have only lost to me, so I feel like I'm in good standing. 4th place in the league, I believe, is still Snow, who is the one person who beat me, so there's that. But we are looking good. I'm definitely poised for a good playoff run. So the next 2 weeks, while still definitely mattering because we still have a chance to win the division if Vump slips up, or guarantee our spot as number 2 in the division, you will see the next couple weeks that our teams, while definitely being able to put up fights and definitely 100% being able to pick up wins, the sets are going to be a little out there, not like super crazy, but you could start seeing a little bit of different sets just that we wanted to run, and this week we definitely have a couple of those. So 2 things to know before we actually jump into this is, 1, the sets are, not all the sets, but some of the sets are going to be a little meh in terms of what you normally think of competitively, and 2, I'm still not 100% sure this match is happening. What I mean by that is, at one point, KresselleKey, my opponent, coach of the Adelaide Umbreons, by the way, actually told me she was going to forfeit the game because of a sickness. Now, since that point in time, she has told me that she does feel a little bit better, and she does think that she can battle. So everything's been done completely normal. We've game planned. The team is built normally. We did all the test runs normally, all that fun stuff. But there is a slight chance that for whatever reason she might not feel good enough. So if that happens, I will put an annotation in this video because I obviously won't upload this video until either the battle's done or I'm guaranteed to win. But if that does happen, I will put an annotation right about now in this video somewhere that'll say she forfeits. So if you see that right now, then there's no match. But if you don't see that right now, we are in good. We're good. So expect the fight. Anyway, long and lengthy introduction aside, let's go ahead and jump into what we're doing this week. Of course, first off, looking at Kressel's team, like I said, the Adelaide Umbreons, her team is obviously right there. And we're starting off with Scizor this week. Scizor is it's not a Mega Scizor, by the way, very, very good Pokemon. Not nearly as scary as Mega Scizor for a couple of reasons, mostly actually because it's not as fast, it's not quite as strong, and I can knock it off, which, as you're going to see, is a really big deal. So, but obviously, Swords Dance, Roost, can defog, it can be Choice Bandit with things like Knockoff, Bullet Punch, U-Turn, Superpower, stuff like that. Definitely a terrifying Pokemon that we have to look out for. Number 2 here, we have a Salamence, one of my favorite Yu-Yu Pokemon in the game, and as you're going to see, it's going to start off a trifecta of Intimidators, potential Intimidators for us. It does get Intimidated, obviously. It also has the ability to be Scarf Moxie, which is definitely very scary. It can be physical, it can be special, it can be Dragon Dance Sweeper, Draco, Fire Blast, Hydro Pump, things like that on the special side. Obviously, it gets Outrage, Dragon Claw, Earthquake, Iron Tail for Diancie as well. Stuff like that. Dragon Tail, it can be a bulky set. One of my best UU teams I've ever run, most successfully anyway, was featuring a Fat Mence with Dragon Tail, which worked really well. Jumping into the 3rd Pokemon here, we have, wow, look at this. We have an Intimidator who can also be Moxie Scarf. Those pretty hard there. And the 2nd of her Intimidators and the 2nd of her potential Moxie Scarfers. So not only do I have to fear the fact that she has the ability to completely cripple any physical attacker I carry with potentially 3, count them, 3 Intimidators, as the 3rd one will be in a couple of seconds here. She also has 2 potential Moxie Scarf Sweepers that would outspeed my whole team and be able to put a lot of work into me. very good Pokemon. Would serve as her main stealth rocker on her team, so there is that. But obviously, it gets Earthquake and Knockoff, and it gets Superpower, and it's a really good Pokemon. It gets Stone Edge, of course, as well. It can Taunt. It does a lot of things really well. And it's definitely another terrifying Pokemon for me. Jumping into the fourth Pokemon, the first Pokemon, I do 100% expect the last three I said. Ambipom is a really good Pokemon as well. I don't fully expect it for a couple of different reasons, but Ambipom can be a definitely usable Pokemon. One of the best, if not the best, straight up Fake Outer in the game with its Technician ability. Also gets Knockoff, U-Turn, Double Hit / Return, whichever you're wanting to run there. It gets the Elemental Punches. You can be Life Orbed. You can be like a normal gem set to get that first Fake Out doing a lot of damage, and then run like a Thief set as well. I've seen that. It can run Power Up Punch, so definitely very scary there. And rounding out her third and final Intimidator on her team, 3, that's a ton, is one that absolutely has to run Intimidate. And that's going to be Gramble. So Gramble's actually a Pokemon that was sniped in terms of our draft. I definitely wanted Gramble going into it. We were looking for a knockoff switch in, and I was like, dude, Gramble is fantastic. Plus, it makes a really good cleric because it gets Heal Bell. So that's what it does. It gets that Heal Bell, it gets that Thunder Wave, so it's a really great utility Pokemon with that Intimidate as well. It also hits very hard with moves like Play Rough, Crunch. I believe it also gets Close Combat, excuse me. It gets all the Elemental Punches, all the Elemental Fangs, though they're worthless when you get the punches. Very good Pokemon. It has the ability to be the support with the Heal Bell and the Thunder Wave and just intimidating in general, and it also could be a choice banded Pokemon that can put a lot of pressure on my team and hit very hard. Jumping into the next one, we have Rotom S. That actually stands for Rotom Spin. This is something I had to be told. This is Rotom Fan. I've always thought of it as Rotom Fan, but there is 2 Rotom Fs, Rotom Fan, Rotom Frost, so they changed this one's name to Rotom S for Rotom Spin, so I was like, who the hell is this? But it is the fan version, so, all the Rotoms, obviously very good Pokemon, same base stats across the board as opposed to, except for mine, the regular form, so it has the same base stats as like Rotom Heat and Rotom Wash, which are definitely very terrifying. Not nearly as good as a defensive typing with the flying type, obviously. But it does do everything Rotom can do. It gets Air Slash as its special move there. Volt Switch and Thunderbolt, of course. It gets Will-O-Wisp, it gets Thunder Wave, it gets Trick. It can be Scarves, it can be Specs, it can be Life Orb. It gets Pain Split as well for survivability, so definitely very scary there. It could be. Her Mega for the team is going to be Mega Gardevoir. Actually, the #1 pick in the draft this year was Mega Gardevoir. Absolutely terrifying. What is there to say about it? Pixelate, obviously. Hyper Voice Spam, Moonblast, Psyshock, /Psychic, Shadow Ball, Focus Blast. It does a lot of things, and it's very, very good. We actually debated running Soundproof Exploud this week because she has no ghosts, but it does Oko with Focus Blast 100% of the time unless I'm Assault Vested, which we thought would be a little out there, a little too out there for this week anyway. But it also can be a Calm Mind Sweeper. It can Will-O-Wisp actually. It can Destiny Bond. So it's got some power. Definitely we'll see this. 100% we'll be seeing this week. Next up we have Runiculus, a very, very actually terrifying Pokemon against my team for a lot of reasons. But what it likes to do is, one, it can be a Trick Rumor. I do doubt it. Her team is pretty fast. Mence, Krook, Ambipom, Gardevoir. Really fast team in general, so I don't expect that, but it's Calm Mind Sweeper, it gets Recover, it gets Magic Guard, so you can't Toxic it to death or anything like that. Doesn't take damage from Stealth Rocks. Psyshock, Focus Blast, Shadow Ball, that kind of stuff. The one thing that does hurt this is 4-move syndrome. If she wants to run a Calm Mind Sweeper set, it has to have Recover, which means it only gets 2 attacking moves. Obviously, Psychic Stab is 1. And the second move almost has to be Shadow Ball because of Celebi, because of Jirachi, and because of Slow King mainly. If it doesn't run Shadow Ball and it goes for something like Focus Blast instead, then it can't really touch my Psychic type. So the downside for him is that if he does run that set with Shadow Ball and Psychic as his attacking moves, it is stopped by a potential Drapion. So that alone may deter her, or she might go for maybe a non-Calm Minding set, or maybe even a non-recovery set with leftovers. With no recovery and have Focus Blast on as well. Always definitely an option, so we have to look out for that as well. Next up, we have Torkoal here. Torkoal's a pretty weird Pokemon. It's PU. It's definitely got usability. It's not a bad Pokemon to stretch. I don't see it coming because we have a ton of answers to it, whether it's King or Chomp or Gyarados or whatever. But it is a very, very good physical, bulky physical Pokemon. Does not get recovery, unfortunately. It does get Stealth Rocks and Rapid Spin, one of the few Pokemon who can do both set up hazards and remove them. It gets Will-O-Wisp, it can Lava Plume, it can Earthquake, stuff like that. So it's got some usability in general, but I definitely don't see it coming here. Could be surprised though. Next up, we have a very underrated Pokemon, and actually, literally, quite possibly the most destructive Pokemon to my team. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's absolutely true, and I didn't know it either until we did test runs, actually. Politoed, obviously Drizzle, which can help the Ludicolo, which we haven't gotten to yet, and the Scizor with removing its fire weakness somewhat. But this thing doesn't need to be invested. Rain Boosted Scald hits hits everything pretty hard. Even without investment, because of that rain boost. Obviously, it passed around Scald Burns, was very annoying. And the one thing that can really, really make this thing a huge issue for my team, the two things, is one, Encore, which can become a huge issue, and two, Hidden Power Electric. Now, if she runs that, props, you're a lord. But if she does, it becomes a very huge issue for me because it really, really just eliminates Gyarados as a potential way to beat her. Now, if she does only run Encore, I can potentially sub on her and then bounce and be locked into bounce. I'm revealing my sets already. But whatever. I'm running Gyarados this week, by the way. But this thing is a very, very terrifying Pokemon, and it seriously, seriously is. And as we get into the team builder, I'll explain exactly what it can do. And we'll run off the team with Ludicolo this week. She's literally never run Ludicolo yet. 0 times. She's had it since week 1 as well. So maybe she just hasn't had the reason to run it, but it's got a lot of potential in this team. Obviously, if she does run it, she will 100% be running Politoed as well, which might deter her alone, having used up 1/3 of her team just for that. But taking a look at my team in general, once it gets a Swift Swim up, it hurts me a lot. It can really devastate. It can one-hit Garchomp. It can one-hit Diancie. It does a lot to Jirachi. It can do a shnikey ton to Slowking with Giga Drain. It can do a lot to Gyarados with the same thing. It can do a lot. It just hits very hard in general against my entire team. We don't really have anything on the team that can beat it. The one thing that we could potentially thought about was a specially defensive Celebi, but that would literally only amount to being able to really do anything to the Ludicolo, excuse me. And even then, we can't hit it very hard back. So, would have been a huge liability for something that we don't fully expect would definitely show up. Anyway, that is her team. Definitely very scary. Gotta look out for the triple Intimidate core. Mega Gardevoir, obviously a huge threat. She has a lot of powerful attackers and a lot of things that could potentially be a huge problem to us. But what's the difference with that? That happens to us every freaking week, it seems. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into my 6 this week, and we just run him constantly. And of course, this week he comes up against gonna be MC Hammer, the Garchomp. This week he'll be running Naive, Rough Skin, and Life Orb this week. We've only run the mixed Garchomp once, and this will be the second time we're going to run it. Earthquake, Stealth Rocks, Fire Blast, and Draco Meteor. As you're going to see through the team builder, this team does definitely pay attention to those Intimidators, all 3 of them. Her team really centers around that, and then using that to help things like Mega Gardevoir and Scizor do a lot of damage quickly. When you don't have a lot of damage anymore, you're forced to switch out. So you'll see a lot of our mods based more around getting away from those Intimidators. So we do have Earthquake, Stealth Rocks, Fire Blast, and Draco, as I said. Pretty simple here. He will be 252 attack, 244, excuse me, speed. And just 12 special attack for the leftovers. That does allow me to outspeed base 100s. Gardevoir and Mance, of course. Earthquake is for all around damage. It actually can almost OHKO Gardevoir. I think it's a really good chance after Stealth Rocks that Gardevoir just completely gets decimated by it. It also hits the team in general pretty hard. It hits Scizor pretty hard, potentially 2-hit Kang on offensive 1. It can almost OHKO, or maybe even OHKO Ambipom. Crocodile can't even take 2 after an Intimidate unless he's like really super bulky, which could be a thing. Draco is for just general power. Mostly the Salamence, obviously, it does OHKO it constantly. Krook, it does like 70 something percent to an offensive Krook. And it does ignore that Intimidate, so for certain Pokemon, we are able to hit that. And Fire Blast, well, just because we really did not see another move that could, like Iron Head was a partial thing, but Earthquake hits almost as hard anyhow, to like Granbull and Gardevoir, so we ran on there just so we can guarantee an OHKO on the Scizor, so that's literally what that's there for. Yeah, so jumping into the second Pokemon this week, we'll be running Make-A-Wish the Jirachi, and this is one of these sets that are going a little crazy here. This is not by any means like a what the hell is this set, but it's definitely a little out there. But we feel like it can put in a ton of work this week. It'll be Timid, Serene Grace, obviously, and Leftovers running 8 HP, 248 special attack, and 252 speed, so that we can potentially speed tie base 100s again. That'll be, again, Mence and Gardevoir specifically. So, this thing started out way different. When it started out, it started out Choice Scarfed. Literally, because it gave us a response to the Choice Scarfers, and it was running Moonblast, Flash Cannon, Hidden Power Fire for Scizor, and Thunderbolt. But we went against that, and we switched it up a couple of times. It was running Moonblast for the longest time, but we ended up putting Thunderbolt on it over top of Moonblast. Because of that Politoed, I'm telling you that Politoed's a big deal. So it's going to be a Flash Cannon, Calm Mind, Substitute, and Thunderbolt. After at a +1, if we get +1, we have a chance, not a great one, but we do have a chance of not losing sub to a rain boosted Scald from Politoed. And after one Calm Mind, we are able to easily 2-hit it. If we could somehow get to +2 on that Politoed without taking a burn, that'd be absolutely glorious. We could spam sub on it and just definitely guarantee ourselves a kill, because nothing on her team's gonna want to be able to take on a +2 Jirachi, with the exception of like Banded Scizor, and even then it has to break my sub first. It's a set that is very tailor-made to be able to beat that Politoed. If this thing can take out Politoed 1v1 and nothing else, it actually does its job. And the test runs, anytime I was able to kill the Politoed, I was able to deal with the rest of the team easily, even without Jirachi. So that's almost its game plan this week. It should be able to do work. It's not necessarily 100% for the Toad, but it obviously serves a great purpose against that. If it can set up Calm Minds, and I can guarantee it's not like, if I know it's not like Scarfed Krook, or we can win a speed tie with the Mence or something, and we can be +1, +2 or so, we can definitely start putting a massive chunk. It beats Renicholas 1v1 in a Calm Mind War, because Flash Cannon has an incredible chance at lowering his special defense thanks to Serene Grace, so it's not able to keep getting bulkier as I will be. So, that's good. Jumping into the third Pokemon this week, yet again we are running Megami the Diancie, and this was probably the most normal set we're running this week, actually. It'll be Hasty, which is +speed -defense for the Gardevoir mostly. Clear Body into Magic Pass, of course, Diancie obviously. 76 attack, 252 special attack, 180 base speed, which yet again is going to allow us to outpace max speed at 100s. This is the theme for this week, it seems. And pretty normal here. We got Moonblast, Protect, Substitute, and Diamond Storm. Substitute is mostly for potential choicers. Banded Scizor or Scarf, Krook, or Mence. If Scizor goes for knockoff or Bug Bite potentially. If Salamence goes for a Dragon Attack, if Mence goes for, or if Krook, goes for knockoff, we can potentially set up sub on certain variants of Renicholas, like an offensive one I think we can set up on. And like Torkoal as well, potentially, but mostly sub is mostly just for those choicers, and we're able to hit his entire team incredibly hard, with the exception of Scizor, who doesn't really scare me this week. I can OHKO Mence and Krook, no problem. I think I can OHKO Ambipom as well, easily to its Granbull. Rotom 2-hit easily, can't outspeed, unless it's Scarf. Gardevoir decimated. In fact, it's almost a guaranteed OHKO for Diamond Storm after Rocks with the spread we're running. Reunion could be an issue potentially with it. Torkoal can't do anything. Toad takes 2 hits. Ludicolo takes 2 hits, I think, as well. So it absolutely puts just a huge dent on our team anytime we're able to use it. So jumping into the 4th mod this week, we have, it seems like we start these 4 every single week. I think over like the past 7 weeks now, this has been the first 4 6 times, which is kind of crazy, but if the core works, man, it just works. And this is one of the crazy sets this week. We're going to be running Headache the Slowking, and we have run this set before, but I feel like it can put in a ton of work. If you look at our team, you can see how much work it actually puts into. So we're running Quiet, which is going to be plus special attack, minus speed, Regenerator, obviously, and that ever-present Cobra Berry. Seems like we run that every week as well, but it always helps us out. I'm running Scald Trick Room, Ice Beam, and Flamethrower with 248 HP, 252 special attack, and 8 special defense as well. And this thing can sweep if we take out the right threats to start off. So, 1-hit Scizor, 1-hit Mence, almost potentially 1-hit Krook, I think. Decimates Ambipom. It doesn't do a ton to Gardevoir, we'd have to chip it. It can do a lot to Rotom though. It can do a good chunk to Torkoal. If we can get rid of the right threats, and also it's very hard. It does to a defensive Politoed. Actually, Scald does like 30-something% in the rain, which to Politoed. It's actually like a 3-hit KO, especially with a burn, which is kind of crazy. To think that against the right Politoed, we can actually 1v1 it with Headache. If we can set up Trick Room against a lot of different things, we can potentially win. It OHKOs her main threat with ease. That's the biggest deal. And even if we can't set up Trick Room, we can take any 1 hit from Mence or Crocodile, no problem. We can even take a hit from non-banded Scizor, but the U-turn would mean we wouldn't kill it, obviously. But if we can take a hit from that Mence or that Krook, we can kill them, and that would be huge. Play obviously being to try to like bait the knockoff. Since I'm not running a defensive set, even with the berry, knockoff does a solid like 50%, so we have to pay attention to that. I don't think I can switch in on an Earthquake and then take a knockoff, so that's kind of concerning. But if we can like get it to knock us off and not kill us and absolutely obliterate it back, or just get the Mence in general, that'd be freaking brilliant. We'd love it. Okay, so 5th Pokemon this week. Let me make sure we're in the right order here. Okay, so the next Pokemon this week is going to be, as I said, I spoiled it for you guys. It'll be Gyarados. And yet again, not a crazy set here, but the offensive attacks are kind of weird, but they make a lot of sense for this match. So we will be Jolly, Intimidate, of course, because Moxie's not really useful for us. Hey, look, we have an Intimidator with Moxie as well. Why do so many things get that? Anyway, Jolly, Intimidate, and Leftovers as well. It'll be a Bounce, Dragon Dance, Substitute, Ice Fang set, running 116 HP, 252 attack, 8 special defense, and 132 base speed with that Jolly nature will allow us to consistently outspeed any variant, at least non-Scarf, of Scizor. If she runs Scarf Scizor, then I don't know what to do with life anymore. Anyway, so the Bounce and the Ice Fang are 2 attacking moves here. We are able to set up sub consistently against a non-Hidden Power Electric version of Politoed. We can potentially set it up against Gramble, not super well, because I think he, even after -1, he breaks up with Play Rough, so that's a concern. I can set up on the Torkoal though as well, pretty easily, and stuff of that nature. Getting the Intimidate off, I can actually set up sub easily on Scizor as well. Unless it's banded anyway. But this thing makes a really good Pokemon. Bounces for overall domination. She has absolutely 0 resistances on her team for this. No steel types, no rock types, no electric types, except for the Rotom, excuse me. But Ice Fang deals with that, obviously. So we're able to just come in and just bounce everything to death. And the Ice Fang is pretty easy. It's for Mence and Crocodile, and that's basically it. If we can get to +1, +2, that Intimidate comes in. Even if we're neutral, an offensive Mence will die to 1 Ice Fang. So if it comes in as like an offensive Dragon Dance set, as we Dragon Dance, it will die to 1 Ice Fang, which will be really nice. We'll see if we can do work, man. We'll see. We'll see. Only the one time he's done a lot of work. Every time we've run him, he hasn't got a chance to get going, and it could be the case again. I don't see a situation where I'm absolutely gonna have to need him. He will be huge in walling the Scizor. So that's a big deal, because obviously resist both stabs takes nothing, takes like 15 to 20% from a banded adamant bullet punch, so, and then we have leftovers for that, so that's pretty easy. And then rounding off the team this week, we have low-key MVP of the team. We didn't get to run him last week, but run him again this week. It'll be Get Over Here. The Drapion, we love this man to death, and this one is another pretty cool set that I'm pretty excited about. We'll be running Jolly Battle Armor, of course, and the Lumberry. Lumberry is literally for the Politoed. Again, for those Scald Burns, man. A lot of our team, we fear that thing. It does easily two-hit us with non-invested Scald in the rain, which sucks. And if it's max defense, +2 knockoff does like 60%, which is ridiculous. But it could be a lot of chip damage. But this thing's main thing is for that Reuniclus. We absolutely need this thing on our team so that Reuniclus can't sweep us. Because if certain situations arise and it's able to start setting up Calm Minds before Jirachi or something like that, we could be in a lot of trouble. So this absolutely had to be on the team. So knockoff Swords Dance, Aqua Tail, and Poison Jab. Debated running like a substitute set, but Mega Gardevoir with Hyper Voice obviously terrifies the crap out of us. So this thing's point is basically to set up Swords Dance. It can set up Swords Dance on the Politoed with the Lumberry still intact. It can set up Swords Dance on the Reuniclus set that I would predict to see. It can set up on Gramble as well, potentially. It can set up on Torkoal as well, potentially. It can even set up on Ludicolo if Swift Swing's not up. Obviously, knockoff is for general power here, mostly for potential Scarfers is what I'd love to do. It hurts Scizor a lot, obviously. Menth and Krook don't want to lose their item with their choice Scarf, so that's huge. And general power across the board. Aqua Tail is 100% for the Crocodile. We are able to one-hit. We do outspeed. It's 20 HP, 252 special, 252 attack, excuse me, and 236 special. Speed. God, 236 speed. I'm so stupid. Which allows us to outpace non-Scarf Krook. And at +1, we one-hit him an offensive Crocodile with Aqua Tail. So we Swords Dance as he switches in. Of course, I have to be guaranteed 100% know for a fact he's not Scarfed at that point in time. If I don't know that, it doesn't matter. But if we got him using like Stealth Rocks or something, and then Earthquake later or whatever he knocks off or something, then we know he's not choice. Then I can set up Swords Dance and one-hit with Aqua Tail. And Poison Jab is for mainly Mega Gardevoir, Gramble as well. And Ludicolo, why not, right? Who cares? And that will be about it, guys. So that's the team this week. This was a pretty weird team builder. I feel like I'm out of it today, man. I kind of felt out of it when I was doing the test battles as well. I'm not really sure why, but thankfully I have like 6 hours from the time I'm recording this to where we're at. The battle's potentially going down, so maybe I can get my head in the game before that because I'm out of it right here. But we definitely have a good shot at winning this week. The main plan with this team is pretty much just to Waller to a degree. Use my threats to neutralize her threats. That's basically it. Everything on this team is just trying to do a lot of chip damage. A lot of this is going to be scouting items. A ton of this is going to be scouting items and scouting everything on the Ments, scouting sets on Ments and Krook and Scizor, scouting the moveset on Reuni and Gardevoir as well. Trying to break down that potential Politoed. And maybe at the end, if we can get the right knockoffs or figure out the right things aren't the right sets that to stop us, there's definitely a chance at end game here if we can get a lot of damage off, get rid of that Scizor, chip the Politoed hard, chip the Gardevoir just a little bit, know it's not Ments or Krook or Scarfed, and then we can just go ahead and just clean sweep with the Ansi at the end. And we can also do the same with Headache as well if the right things are chipped. So, yeah, that's it, guys. As always, thank you for taking the time to watch the video. I appreciate it. Like I said, make sure, if you saw that annotation before the battle, before I got into the team builder and everything, then there's not going to be a battle this week, and I apologize for that. But if you saw nothing, then I hope to see you guys for the battle. It should be good. We're trying to keep this winning streak up, and just keep trucking on in the NPA, man. Trying to have momentum going into that playoff run, dude. It could be very good for us. So definitely vying for that title, and we're going to go hard for it. So, but again, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Make sure you like the video, even though I suck today. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube, all that other fun stuff, and I will see you guys, hopefully, in Week 12 of the NPA as the Baltimore Blazikens take on KresselleKey and the Adelaide Umbreons. Alright, I'm out, guys. Peace. See you guys in Week 12. See ya.